What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya and Canelo Alvarez, in fact. De La Hoya said this on Canelo Alvarez. I've built a superstar. I should feel proud of that. Of course, we know Canelo sued De La Hoya, DAZN, and Golden Boy back in September because of breach of contract. And they've been feuding for a long time, more than a year, over a year. Meanwhile, De La Hoya, who is currently on vacation in Puerto Rico, says that the heartache is gone and that he is now focusing on the accomplishments that he achieved for Alvarez. And this is what he had to say. He says, first couple weeks, I was a little down on myself, De La Hoya said, on the 3 Knockdown Rule podcast. Thinking, what did I do wrong? What did the company do wrong to deserve this? But when you're transparent and when you do everything right, correct, and all the cards are laid out, it's like you can feel good about yourself and say, I've built a great champion. I've built a superstar. I got him the biggest contract in sports history. I should feel proud of that. I'm over it. I'm good. Of course, back in 2018, the Golden Boy fighter signed a contract for $365 million with an upstart streaming platform, DAZN. Okay, so, De La Hoya, before I go on and what else he says, what he's really doing is he's accepting the loss, which is good. Fighting over a fighter or being resentful like his predecessor, Bob Arum, does is not healthy. Okay, and that really, those strongholds of holding grudges is really not relevant in the sport of boxing. We've seen a lot of things come to an end, and Oscar De La Hoya is right. He did build a superstar. He made a guy, which in Canelo Alvarez, he gave him protection on high. A good fighter, a very good fighter that Canelo Alvarez is. He gave him the extra protection that he needed. A lot of fights, a lot of people felt that he lost or shouldn't even came close, that he won anyway. That's thanks to Golden Boy, the protection of Golden Boy. He was the creme de la creme of Golden Boy. He signed the biggest contract with Golden Boy. Oscar De La Hoya took care of Canelo. I don't see, I can see kind of both sides, but I wouldn't have sued De La Hoya over that. I wouldn't have done that. But, they've been feuding for a while. And it's been because of Triple G. But go figure. That was another decision that a lot of people thought Triple G beat Canelo, especially the first fight. I thought he won the first fight. But that's another protection from Golden Boy. So ironically, he walks away from a deal with DAZN that he acquired by beating one of the best men at the time, which was Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. So, with De La Hoya and Canelo feuding out, I mean, it's one of those things that that happens. Trainers and fighters do it all the time. De La Hoya actually stole Canelo. If you guys don't know that, he stole him from a smaller Mexican promoter, back in the day, in which he had to pay that promoter. I don't think he did. I think Canelo had to pay his promoter, his former promoter, like $8 million US. Okay, so, it just showed you that De La Hoya did a lot of things with Canelo. I don't know if how Canelo feels about De La Hoya, but De La Hoya knows, hey, he had a superstar in the sport. So he can be proud of that. And then I think that can make him learn from certain things that he done, because he shouldn't have agreed with DAZN that there will be a Triple G fight without consulting Canelo Alvarez. That was shitty, because Canelo was over it. And I guess he thought that he could promote or persuade Canelo to fight Triple G the third time. That's what that fight was about. But Canelo can't expect to get these type of duckies in this type of pandemic when fighting the guys that he wanted to fight. Counterpunch. And then refuse to fight the other tough fighters just because you've done so much already. You can't get the Mayweather syndrome here. That doesn't work with everybody. Mayweather is Mayweather. Canelo was Canelo. Canelo had a reputation of fighting the best guys, not running from the best guys. He totally 360. That is not Oscar De La Hoya's fault. I reiterate, it is not his fault. Okay? DAZN is the broadcaster. DAZN has the money, not Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya gets the money from Canelo when he gets kicked back from DAZN. Okay, so that's what it is. But I'm glad Oscar De La Hoya, is not as bitter. But let me finish off what he had to say. He said, "I'm sure fighters always think that the grass is greener on the other side," said De La Hoya. "Unfortunately, most of those fighters that think that way always come back to this side of the road. Look, I wish Alvarez all the best. I'm sure it wasn't his decision. I'm sure it's the people around him. People may be that got into his ear." Okay. So De La Hoya is saying that maybe Canelo will be back when he finds out the grass is not greener. So we will see. That's my only counterpunch on that, because we don't know what Canelo plans to do or intends to do. But, of course, the Callum Smith fight is going on. So he's still with the zone. So he might have to deal with, or might end up dealing with De La Hoya on down the line. Maybe, maybe not. But we will see. You guys tell me what you think about De La Hoya's comments towards Canelo Alvarez. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.